of sources to learn about the past depending upon the period of the study and the nature of the investigation. They are using the different types of sources. Last year example we studied about the Gupta dynasty and Harshavardhana. We studied that. We will notice that some continuity in the sources used by historians for the study of this period. Some continuity is coming on, we know that. Historians use the different types of sources. Without the sources, they don't know about the past. We know about the past from sources. Different types of sources. Coins. Historians mainly used these all types of sources. Coins, inscriptions, architecture, textual records, manuscripts. For manuscripts, textual records also they used different types of sources. Historians used in that all periods they using different types of sources. We know that about coins. What about from how much informations we getting from these all things, inscriptions, architecture, textual records also. But in the some textual records, some discontinuity and some mistakes will come. Some manuscripts or textual records copying from centuries. Some historians copying that, the scribes copying manuscripts. We know that scribes copying manuscripts. Scribes means those who are copying textual records, manuscripts and all, that person is known as scribes, writer. Okay. The manuscripts and textual records kept in archives. Archive means those places kept textual records and other records and other office records. Now also the government offices and all, they kept all official records in the archives. We know that. And there was no printing press in that time. So paper also very cheaper. They will get papers. They became cheaper and more widely available in paper. You know that what is the problem about these manuscripts and these records copying the centuries, copying from one century next year, 1 year from next year, another scribes copying these manuscripts. But you know that if you copying your friend's note, your friend made one mistake means you will also make that same mistake. That type of problems, mistakes will come in these manuscripts. Those who copying last original, we don't know about the original manuscripts or original copies. Those the writer, those who write this, those who wrote this, that original copies we will not get. 14th century chronicler CHAP-1 Barani in 1356 he wrote some about this. We know that CHAP-1 in 1356 CHAP-1 Barani wrote his chronicler first in 1356 and another version 2 years later. The two differ from each other, but historians still did not know about the existence of the first version until the 1960s. The 14th century chronicler CHAP-1 Barani wrote his chronicle in 1356 and another version 2 years after. Later, the two differ from each other. The historians did not know about the existence of first version until the 1960s. Like that problems will come in that copying the textual records. I think you understood this about the historians and the sources. Welcome back to our first lesson, tracing changes through 1000 years, new social and political groups. A huge challenge for historians, 1000 years between 700 and 1750, because of the scale and variety of developments occurred over the period. New technological developments were there, mainly that Persian wheel in irrigation. We know that Persian wheel in irrigation. First one is Persian wheel in irrigation and spinning wheel for weaving and firearms in combat. And new food items and beverages also came that food items like potato, chili, coffee, tea, etc. Came. In the these all developments are there. Like that now tea and coffee like beverages also came. This was a period of social, political, economic and cultural developments changes were there in that period. This was a period of social, political and economic developments are there in the 700 and 1700 and between the time of 1750. There is a economic, social, political and all types of cultural changes also there in that period. This was a period of great mobility. People traveled from one place to another for jobs opportunity, in search of jobs opportunity. You know that the people traveled from one place to another. One group of people who became prominent in this period was Rajaputs, named derived from the word Rajaputra. Rajaputs, one of the became important people. The one group of people in this period was Rajaputra. Coming from this Rajaputra word, Rajaputs became prominent in this period. Rajaputs became prominent in this period. A name derived from Rajaputra, the son of ruler. Like that meaning is that a group of various, another thing was Kshatriyas, a group of various Kshatriya. They are not just rulers but also soldiers and commanders who served in armies. The Kshatriya served in armies also there that time. The rulers also there. Other group of people such as Marathas, Sikhs, Ahoms, Jats, Kayasthas. Okay. These all different people, group of people came that time. The period there was a gradual change. Clearing of forest, clearing the forest and agriculture, developments in agriculture came that time. This period was a gradual clearing in the forest and the extension of developments of agriculture is there. Some places forest dwellers wanted to migrate. Means their habitat was there in forest. They want to migrate. The developments came that time. They want to migrate from forest. Then this period, one group, another group influenced in the society as the new peasant groups. Means they cleared the forest and they developed, the agriculture developed. The new peasant groups influenced in the society at that time. The society became more differentiated. People were grouped into jadis or subcaste. Grouped into jadis or subcaste. You know that because according to the occupations also, by birth and occupations also, they changed into different tribes or societies. Jadis framed their own rules and regulations were enforced by a assembly of elders called Jadi Panchayat. Assembly, they enforced Jadis, formed their own rules and regulations in that were enforced by an assembly of elders called what? Jadi Panchayat. Several villages was governed by a chieftain at that time. Next, I think you understood about this. New social and political groups in society, different types of different groups formed. Kshatriyas, Rajaputras, like that. Ahoms, we studied that Rajaputra and other Ahoms, Jats, Kayasthas, these all things we discussed in this new and social political groups. New social and political groups. Okay. Next, region and empire. Region and empire. Cholas, Mughals and Tughlaqs conquered many regions. You know that Cholas, Tughlaqs, many dynasties were there. We studied that. They conquered many regions. In their prasastis, rulers wrote their prasastis praising them. We studied that prasasti. What is the meaning of prasasti? In here, the Sultan, Delhi Sultan, Ghiyasuddin Balban wrote about that his he conquered Bengal in the east to Ghazni in Afghanistan. That wide vast areas in his hand was there in his hand. He wrote about that in his Prashasti Ghiyasuddin Balban. In 1318, Amir Khusro noted that there was a different languages in every region of this land. Different languages was there. Amir Khusro wrote that. It was an old language. The Sanskrit was an old language at that time, and there was a different language in every region in this land. He explained that Sanskrit was not belong to any region. It was an old language and common people do not know it. Only the Brahmins do it. Brahmins know about the Sanskrit language. The knowledge is for only Brahmins only know that. Common people do not know the Sanskrit language. Occasionally, dynasties like the Cholas, Khiljis, Tughlaqs and Mughals were able to build an empire at that time. All these empires were not stable and successful. All these empires were not stable and successful. When the Mughal Empire declined in the 18th century, it led to the re-emergence of regional states. In Mughal Empire declined in the 18th century, it led to the re-emergence of regional states. Next, old and new religions. Old and new religions. In 1,000 years of history, we are witnessed major developments in religious traditions. During this period, important changes were in Hinduism, that is the growing importance of Brahmanas, the priests as dominant groups in society. Brahmanas also priests, dominant group in society. The knowledge of Sanskrit led to the importance of this group of people. Texts, they earned the knowledge of Sanskrit. The Brahmanas a lot of respect in society. They got a lot of respect in society. They are supported by patrons. Patrons means an influential wealthy person who supports another person. They are supported by patrons. Many other persons, influential persons supporting them. One of the major developments of this period was the emergence of the idea of bhakti, of this time personal means of the loving of personal deity and the worship of personal deity, that is known as bhakti. Bhakti of the emergence of the idea of bhakti. Next, this was also the period when new religions came in that time. Merchants and migrants means those who migrate from another countries to here. That first brought the teaching of the Holy Quran in India in the 7th century. They brought the merchants and migrants from other countries. They brought the idea of that the Quran, Holy Quran to India in the 7th century. Muslims regard the Quran as the holy book and accept the belief of one God. Not like Hinduism, they accept the belief of one God. Okay. This is the last part of our lesson, thinking about the time and historical periods. Historians do not see time just as passing of hours, days of or years. Like as a clock or calendar. Historians do not see the time. Time also reflects changes in social and economic organization. The study of time is made somewhat easier by dividing the past into large segments, periods that possess shared characteristics. Means in the middle of the 19th century, British historians divided in the history of India into 3 periods. In the middle of the 19th century, British historians divided the Indian history into 3 periods. Means the division was based on that Hindu, Muslim and British period. Hindu period, Muslim period and British period. Okay, the ancient, middle and modern. Hindu, Muslim and British period. This division was based on that the idea of the religion of rulers was the only important historical change in that time, and that there were no other significant developments. In the economy, society or culture, not any developments was there. Such a division also ignored the rich diversity of the subcontinent. Means few historians follow this periodization today. Most of the historians do not follow the periodization of this Hindu, Muslim and British period. Most look to economic and social factors to characterize the major elements of different moments of the past. Last year we know that we studied that they included, the historians included a wide range of early societies, hunter-gatherers, early farmers, people living in towns and villages. We know that we studied, and early empires and kingdoms. These 1000 years of Indian history witnessed considerable changes. After all, the 16th and 18th centuries were quite different from the 8th or the 11th century. Therefore, describing the entire period as one historical unit is not without its problems. Moreover, the medieval period is often contrasted, and the modern period, modernity carries with it a sense of material progress and intellectual advancement. During these 1000 years, the societies of the subcontinent were transformed often, and economies in several regions reached a level of prosperity and that attracted the interest of Europeans trading companies. Europeans came here for trade, you know that. As you read this book, look out for signs of change and the historical process at work. I think look out for changes and continuities wherever you can, and look at the world around you to see what else has changed or remained the same. You know that we discussed many things in this lesson. I hope all of you understood about these all terms and these all changes in this lesson, tracing changes through 1000 years. Thank you.